Here we go. Going live. Wasn't me.
Give it some
Alrighty.
better.
Alrighty. Now we got it. We're live. All right, everyone. Welcome to another episode of BCU Live. Let's do this over again. I'm Adam, your host, KN6QGV, with my co-hosts.
Jeremy, K85, YUZ.
And Jeremiah, W9JAM.
We have an exciting episode tonight where we're going to actually go over the Disaster Prep Workshop, some of the things that we're going to be going over, as well as the, sorry, YouTube is going crazy in my ear. Okay, there we go. Stopped it. So yeah, we're going to be going over the workshop and everything and what you guys are going to be getting out of that. And we'd like to welcome each and every one of you guys for being here. Now, before we actually begin, can you guys go down below and enter the giveaway? Tonight we are giving away the workshop. So anyone who would like to enter to win, you're more than welcome to. We will also be giving out a discount for anyone who wants to buy the workshop tonight. Now, if you happen to win, we will give you the workshop, the next workshop as well that we're going to have in September, which is actually going to be a bigger continuation of the workshop that we're doing today. Sorry. There we go. YouTube kept opening up windows. It's part of that streaming thing. I don't know. Anyways, so we're going to dive right into it. All right. Well, disasters can happen at any time, and they can be incredibly overwhelming and chaotic. Having a plan in place before disaster strikes is crucial to keeping your loved ones safe and ensuring a speedy recovery. Remember, disaster preparedness is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. We encourage you to register for this workshop as a resource to continually assess and improve your disaster preparedness system and to share your knowledge and resources with your community. Our goal is to empower you to take the steps forward towards building a disaster preparedness and to provide you with the resources necessary to feel confident in your ability to respond to potential disasters. By working together to create a safer and more resilient community, we can minimize the impact of disasters on our life and ensure faster and smoother recovery. In this workshop, we will be covering the following. In the first session, we're going to go over the importance of disaster preparedness and the potential risks during a disaster. The second session we're going to go over is developing your comprehensive disaster plan for you, for your home and family. Now, we're actually have a packet that we're going to include with you guys. First off, we do have a workbook that comes with this workshop. We will also have a secondary ebook that comes along that's going to have checklists and some other equipment, some other lists and paper that you could fill out in order to actually build a comprehensive plan. Now, we are going to show you guys some equipment tonight. We're not going to go over what to have in your bins tonight, but in the workshop, we will be helping you guys build a go bag as well as a home kit for your house. So we're going to give you all the necessary stuff. And that gets into our third session here, where we have emergency checklists and storage and the maintenance of your emergency supplies. So we're actually going to help you build up your kits, tell you what to have in there, what we suggest, how to store your supplies, how to keep them for longer lasting, how to rotate different supplies if necessary. Then we're going to get into the fourth session, which is actually staying safe. Now, during disasters, staying safe is one of the key things you want to do. You don't want to panic, because panic ensures that accidents are going to happen. People are going to get injured and other things. And you don't want to have to pull out that emergency kit unless it's absolutely necessary. So staying safe is key. Now, we're going to go over different evacuation procedures and what are the proper ways to evacuate from an area if you need to. We're also going to go over shelter in place protocols. So if you have to shelter in place because of a hurricane, a tornado, whatever it may be, we're going to talk about that as well. And then we're going to also go talk about how to utilize emergency equipment properly, like generators and other things you might utilize during a disaster. The fifth session we're going to go over is connecting with resources. Now, this is a big thing when a disaster happens, because there are a lot of different resources out there that you can utilize, and knowing which ones to utilize are key. So like the community resources and support systems that are in place for disasters, emergency services and aid programs that they may offer during a disaster, as well as local charity and volunteer organizations that may be participating during disasters as well. The last session we're going to do is we're going to get you familiarized with your emergency plan and equipment, and we're going to help you guys make sure that you have the confidence in your family as well to utilize this equipment in case of emergency. Now, the workshop will be anywhere from 3 to 4 hours. It is on April 15th, Saturday at 12 p.m. Central. Depending on the number of breaks we take and which pace we move through the material, that will determine how long the event's going to be. Now, the workshop is going to be like drinking from a fire hose. Now, I only say that because we're giving you guys a lot of information. Now, disclaimer, because we are talking about safety, do not actually try to drink from a fire hose. We are using this as an expression to make an analogy, and drinking from a fire hose would actually be a very bad idea and would cause serious injury. So we do not recommend it. Jeremiah, you have anything else you'd like to add?
Although it would be quite impressive to try to see that, especially at, about 1200 PSI coming out the end of that nozzle. But yeah, whenever disaster happens, that old crap moment hits us all. What do I do? What do I do? What do I do? That's when the old saying, practice makes perfect, comes into play. I just spin it up a little bit and say practice makes permanent. So the more you practice, the more you drill, the better off you are at being able to get the equipment, get into your safe area, and do the head count that you need. That way it is more a reaction of muscle versus a thought process. Being in the first responder world that I have been throughout my years, the more reactionary it can be of muscle memory, the less chance there is to mess something up, especially when it's in the real application of it. Here in Oklahoma, we got tornadoes. We got to get in holes unless we're out spotting. So that muscle memory really takes care on that, especially when right before it gets here, it usually gets dark, sound like locomotives going over the top. Yeah, it gets pretty intense. So these kits can definitely be something that will be of extreme use, and also for you, not just for you, but also for your family members that are there with you. Jarvis, you got anything?
One thing I would say is if you are helping in an emergency and there is somebody else who is in charge and you're part of the response team in that emergency, make sure you listen for the directions and follow the directions because they are designed to keep you safe. Other thing, Adam, do we have a code for the chat for YouTube people to enter?
Yeah,
tonight?
I'm gonna put the code up here in a minute.
Okay. All
now,
right.
Dan asked a very good question. What type of disasters are we going to refer to? This workshop is going to be a generality as to more all disasters. However, in September, we are building a whole system where we're going to be able to go over every specific disaster, and we have a plan for each one that we're building out. It's just a lot of material to make. This is something new we are designing. So there's a lot of information we're providing you with this workshop, and for 4 hours in one day, you're getting a whole wealth of information. Now, your emergency kit checklist, we are going to go through. Now, let me share my screen over here. We are going to show you guys how to do a whole bunch of things. We're going to, bam, okay. Oop. Let's get that camera back on. hold on. There's that button. There we go. I think I pressed it. Oh, there we go. All right. So as you guys can see on the table here, there's a lot of different equipment here. Let me see if I can focus that a little better. Come on. Not letting me. All right. Anyways, there's a lot of different things here. We got everything from a shower here in the back. You got a tent. You got some sleeping bags. You got a hammock. You got there's tools in there. There's shovels. There's an actual hatchet in there as well. As you can see, radios. Now it's a little blurry, but it says a family emergency plans down there. That's just one of the documents down in that case. That case is actually a fireproof case. I recommend everyone get a zip up if you have a vault, or safe or something at your house. Keep this in there readily, easy. You could grab it, boom, go. Or if you want to keep it in your bag ready with all your other equipment, it's good to have in your bag. You keep key documents in there. I keep a copy of the family plan. I keep a copy of, the house documents, any kind of birth certificates, social security cards, things like that of nature that are going to be important. As you can see, also there's a passport book there. So my passport, I have all my information there. My passport, I have my border entry card. I got a backup copy of my health insurance, things like that, so that way I have everything I need when in an emergency situation. We also have a communications plan in there. So we go over there, it tells us what frequencies we're going to be talking on, if we're moving to different areas, who we text out of state if we need to with the radios, things of that nature, so that way we can actually be all in communication and in touch together. Now, there is a lot here. As you can see in the back here, I'm actually going to pan up a little bit. We have food right back here. Now there are two different types. As you can see, there's MREs on top. For those of you guys who knows what those are, these are everyone's best friend, I'll just say. Good old Department of Defense rations. Then we got the Ready Wise, which is in that big tub right below it. That actually has, I believe, 107 meals in it, and it's good for about 25 years. It's the longest shelf life that you can have for a lot of this stuff. And I really recommend that you guys look into investing into something like that. Now we're going to get more into it. As you can see, also, I'm going to pan down here. We have a whole mess of medical equipment. Now, we're going to tell you what's a necessity to have in here, what isn't, things like that. Don't get things that you don't know how to use. I would just highly recommend that. So don't be like, oh, I need a decompression needle for chests. Why do you need that? People just think, oh, I need it for something. Don't get things you don't need. We're going to tell you guys exactly what you need in your core things. Now, the only thing that might not be in this kit that is here that you might not need is that NPA. And an NPA is this. This is if you're having breathing problems, you could put that down someone's nose and it'll open up the airway and bypass the throat area. So it goes up into there and down their throat to keep an open airway. So it makes it easier for someone to breathe. Now, as you can see also right here, I'm going to pan a little to the right. There's a couple different types. We have a regular CPR mask. We got a more involved CPR mask. And then we have a bag valve mask. Now, when you're learning CPR, they teach you how to do chest compressions and to use breaths. If you're taught that way and you have basic CPR, like from Red Cross, from American Heart Association or something like that, continue what you've been trained to do. It's been proven though that just continuing chest compressions is actually about going to give you the same amount of air, about 20% oxygen, which is what they need in order to keep them alive. So if you just continue those chest compressions, it's actually a lot better than to actually try and get into using oxygen masks. Now, I'm not here to give you guys medical training and all of that. I am certified. Again, like I tell you, do not do anything that you're not certified to do, but everything here is something that's everyone can handle. There's butterfly strips for emergencies. Now you're going to notice a lot of these other type of pads, and a lot of things we'll show you guys now. There's things not shown here, but you're going to see this blue line coming through this pad. That's actually a good thing. Those are the type of equipment you want, because when you pack someone's wound, or you put them wrap someone up, or a wound, or close up a wound, or do something, that line is going to show up on an x-ray, and they know that there's a pad there. So you're not going to have someone with the gauze pad stuck in them or whatever, where they're not supposed to, things like this. That is an abdominal pad there, and it can be used as a, for compression and some other things. Now, there is a tourniquet on the table. I will say this, if it's not CAT approved, combat application tourniquet, then do not use it. Those are the ones you want in your kit, are these CAT tourniquets. And I can, in our workshop, you will get an exact list of every single one of them. That one on the table right there where it says time, that's actually a CAT Generation 7 tourniquet. That is the newest and greatest. I think those are amazing. I have tons of those. I actually got one right here on my hip right now, on my backside, with my trauma shears and everything. So I think that's an amazing tourniquet, and I always carry it around. I've seen it save some people's lives and other things. So I'll swear by it. Now, just like us, our pets are our loved ones. We do not want to make sure that we do not forget about them. We want to make sure that we have everything we need for them. So as you can see in the middle of my thing, it says pet first aid kit. That literally is a bag with just everything I need to maintain my animals. So if there's any issue with any of them, I have exactly what I need. There's compression tapes and gauzes in there. There's different, a whole bunch of different stuff that would be related to dealing with a pet's injury rather than a human's injury. Now, chest seals, as you can see here, the vented chest seals, those are actually something you want to carry. They're not just good for you. If a dog gets punctured by something, say you're out and about in the woods and your dog gets punctured by a branch or something, that's great to put over a puncture wound, not just for a dog, but for a human. That's what the type of things you're going to want to use, and that can help seal it and also save your pet's life. So I always recommend to add that to your pet's kit. Now, I am providing you with a lot of information tonight. I'm only going to give you guys a few more things before I go with the medical stuff, and before we move on. But two things: if you guys have any type of medical issues, all right, I do have medications, general medications in here, but say you're a diabetic, or you got some other problem, make sure you guys carry your medicine as well. This is actually pretty good for diabetics when their blood sugars get really low. That's actually a very good counteract, and that actually is something that has saved a lot of people's lives. So when you see someone, who needs it, boom, if they're diabetic, that can really save their life, especially if you can't get them something that they can bring up their sugars with. And then you also see right here, I have ice packs, hot hands, and an emergency blanket. All right. Those are things you should always keep. Now, emergency blanket is great because it can keep someone warm, especially in a situation. Keeping someone out of shock is one of the main things you want to deal with when dealing with medical issues. Now, if someone starts to get cold and stuff, give them one of these hand warmers, put it under their armpits, put it in their hands, put something, where they can warm up real quickly, and put that blanket around them. It helps them. Now, that thermal blanket is just a Mylar blanket. It's very thin. It's not going to provide, it's just going to reflect your body heat back. Now, if you have another blanket you could put over that, that is ideal in situations to actually help someone. So if you fall into a lake or something and it's freezing water, you're going to want to get that person out, put that blanket on, and then maybe get something else over that. Get the space blanket on the Mylar emergency blanket, and then another blanket over them. So again, these are all just different things we're going over, and I'm going to show you guys in the workshop, and we'll get more in depth. Now, communications is key. So as you can see, we have two radios over here. We have the 878, which is an amazing radio, and we do actually have an emergency bundle prepared for that. It does come with an emergency card. We are working on getting those available to other people and to people who purchase a workshop, we're thinking about getting that to them as well as a bonus. But the buddy radio there is actually as well a great little radio. Now you can convert this. Now it's good for two different things. If you're talking with your neighbors and no one has an amateur radio license, great for house to house during an emergency. Hey, let's all go to this frequency. We could check in with each other, make sure everyone's doing fine in the neighborhood. You know, if there's like an earthquake, a fire, a tornado, a hurricane, you know, a flood, I can go on. There's a whole bunch of different disasters. These are great to communicate with your neighbors and all that. This radio also is good because you can convert it to a little analog radio and analog FM with amateur, and you can actually use the amateur frequencies. So if you have something set up with all your buddies in the area and you want to communicate and you have your license, you can actually do that as well. Now I say if you have your license, because theoretically you do need a license for amateur radio. But when ish hits the fan, realistically, those rules do go out the window. Now, I'm not saying this so you guys could go out there and do that. I'm just letting you guys know for people who do happen to have some of this equipment, during an actual emergency and disaster, you can utilize these equipments to reach further distances and try and get communication out to other areas. If it's especially if it means saving a life, this is why I bring it up. I always like to emphasize the laws and the regulations around these things, but life and safety come first, and you are allowed to use these means of communication for those means. So I also, in the bottom right, have this antenna. It's a VHF antenna for communication. It's on 146.1600. And I could tie that up in a tree, hook it up to my radio, and get a longer range so I can actually communicate with people and get out to communicate with people if I'm out in the mountains or something like that. It gives me a little bit higher vantage point, and it has a rope attached to it so I can use it. Now, there are a lot of other different ways you can communicate as well. There's HF and a lot of different backpack type variations of radios you can create. I know Jeremiah and Jeremy both utilize some of those different types. Look at Jeremy with that smile. And I will actually let them take over for a minute and explain some of the ways they use it.
All righty. I have two Pelican cases that are 3 foot long and they're 26 inches wide. One of them is strictly my comms. I've got some LiPo battery cells in it, and I can run 8 of my handheld chargers and also my G90 off of it. I have 2 forms of antenna for the G90 in it. I have the end-fed. I also have a vertical mast style that I can utilize. I can run roughly a week on the battery that's in that case, not just by the radio, but also utilizing it to charge the handheld batteries that I have in there. I have 3 878s. I have 2 different commercial radios, and then I've got a set of Echoes and a dozen of the buddies that go in that box. The other box I have has got my medical equipment. Yes, I am licensed at the paramedic level. So I have 6 bags of normal saline, IV kits. I've got some advanced airways. I've got basic life support equipment. Got a pulse ox. I have blood pressure cuff, stethoscope, etc. That is set there. Then the bottom half of that box is where I've got 2 weeks worth of MREs. Now, those are just the ones that are portable. The ones that I have in the cellar, I have an old chest high deep freeze that is 10 foot long, and it is nothing but survival gear that's in it. When we do the longer show, if I can get connectivity down there, I will take a camera and let y'all look at how I've got it. I give you an idea. I think I've got $10 in that deep freeze. When I bought it, it didn't work. I didn't intend on it working because I was using it for that. The other useful tool I have in my box with my first aid gear is I've got 4 trauma blankets and 4 fire blankets.
Mhm.
Very handy to have.
Now, as you
But
guys saw on the table, that's not anywhere near the medical supplies and things I have prepared. I just took some things out to show you guys, that we're going to have like kind of common supplies and core supplies you should have in an emergency kit for a disaster at your home. We will go more in depth of how many of certain items you should have and things like that, especially with the number of people you have in your household, is going to also help determine how many of each item you're going to have as well. Dan, an
yeah,
AED is a great addition only if you know how to use it. Not everyone is certified in AED, and you do have to get certified in it in order to actually use it. So again, that goes back to my principle. If you're not certified and you don't know how to use it, do not get it. All right. Jeremiah, did you want to share anything else? Want to share about your box maybe?
Basically, what I've got is a G90 that is set up with a LiPo battery, and I've got the end-fed antenna, as well as a vertical toy box antenna that I showed some of you guys last week, and a L bracket or an L adapter, SO239 to PL259, that goes on the back of the G90 to hold that vertical. So that is basically my kit for an emergency as far as HF communications go. So back to you, Adam.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do now, since everyone seems to be asking, where is it? There we go. For those of you guys interested in the disaster prep workshop, we are giving you guys this code where we will be able to give you 10% off on the workshop. So for anyone interested, we'd love to see you guys there. Ready for anything. This is an amazing value. We've already discounted it. It was originally $397 down to $197, and now with another 10% off, that's a pretty good deal. And again, you can't put a price on making sure you're prepared correctly for an emergency and disaster. Again, with Jeremy's background, my background, and Jeremiah's background, we have you guys covered, and we want to make sure you guys get the best prepared. We took our time on making this. We tried to put in as much information. We know not everything is going to be in this first workshop. We do apologize. However, we do have another one in September that will be a continuation. We will be changing up the material for that one. And we do have some kind of additional thing to actually compensate for all of the actual different courses. So we're actually going to provide you guys with a whole solution in September that will take you through from the beginning of not knowing anything to being prepared for almost any type of disaster. So everyone, please, love to see you there. Use this code. I will show it again here in a little bit before we end the night, but I think we got a few other things we might want to share. Now for let's see. Jeremy or Jeremiah, you want to figure something out for a sec?
It's okay. So the one item that Adam showed earlier, the glucose kit or the glucose bag that you can drink, that is actually a carbohydrate drink that if somebody's having low blood sugar symptoms and they've got their glucose meter with them or they've got a CGM and it's showing their blood sugar is starting to tank, that is something you can give them to help to get their blood sugar back up. Adam actually gave me a couple of those, and I've actually had to use one of those already because I misdosed my insulin. So yeah, those definitely help. So make sure that you've got some of those. They're not very expensive. And they are a great addition to, any first aid kit, not just a disaster prep kit, but any first aid kit. So, other thing to remember, if you are in an emergency and you're trying to get an antenna up as quickly as possible, make sure you look for downed power lines or overhead for power lines when putting up an antenna, because the last thing you want to do is become the emergency by getting electrocuted. So make sure you keep an eye out for power lines in any situation. So, Jeremy, you got anything?
I think we got it all about covered. Remember, you're no good to nobody if you're not 100%.
Ain't that the truth? Give me one more minute. Here, you know what? Let me actually, while this is going, trying to get a link for YouTube, but here, oh,
Eric Miller commented on the YouTube chat. Those things are all great if you have the resources to purchase them, which is all mentioned in FEMA CERT and ARRL emergency courses. There needs to be a go bag suggestion for those on limited income. Now, Eric Miller, there is an organization that is called Get Ready. And in order for you to be able to utilize that resource for a go bag, which has your I wouldn't say basic, it's one step above basic in my opinion. It has first aid kit, emergency fire starter, emergency blankets, some flashlights. It has a set of family radios, and there's some other items in there, and they escape my mind right now. But it's about a 40-pound bag worth of equipment, and they give it to you for free. All you have to do is be able to justify and prove that you're either a responder in your community or you are a licensed professional, and amateur radio with them does count as that. It counts even more if you're part of the ARIES or RACIES in your area.
now to expand on what Jeremy just said, we are looking to make partnerships with different organizations for September, hopefully, where we can actually provide you guys with the basic kit at a very reasonable price. So we are looking into that kind of option for you guys.
Tom, that is let's or get ready. No worries, sir.
Yeah, I think I got it. Bam. Okay.
Chris, I know exactly where you're coming from. I have the trifecta. I've been in law enforcement, still certified, not working as one at the current time. I have national register on the medic side, and also volunteer fire chief for 12 years. And then I moved out of the district and had to give it back up, back to them. It was against our bylaws to live outside of district to be part of the fire department.
Well, you know what we can do right now. Apparently, the regular live stream giveaway ended. I can't speak today. So what we're going to do is we'll draw that winner. And then as soon as the other one ends, we'll draw the BC Plus winner. So let's see who wins. Now, while that is actually pulling up, what I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen here. For those of you guys who would like some more information, we actually do have a website, workshop.bridgecom/disaster-prep-workshop-1, and that'll bring you to this page. I will post a link in the chat as well. But as you guys can see, this is a page that we have. If you guys are interested in purchasing it, you can either go through the website or through this landing page. And you will be able to actually add the workshop. As you guys can see, it's in 3 days, 16 hours, 18 minutes, and 50 seconds. So if you guys are interested in any of that, there you go. Now down here, we also have the emergency preparedness bundle. And we also have our 578 mobile. So right here, you can see our emergency bundle. For those of you guys who would like it, comes with emergency card, the university, a speaker mic, and the 878 radio for $370. So that's an amazing radio you can get. Here's actually a picture of the emergency card that you will receive. So you can get actually some of the frequencies, and we do have that. It is part of the 333 plan, and we do explain that in the workshop. Also right here, we have our 578. This is a great mobile. This can be used in a backpack. It could be used in a Pelican case. It could be used in a car. It could be used in your home. I got one in my car and one in my office here, and they both work amazing, especially with the air band receive and some other features. It's an amazing radio to have. All righty. Now, with that being said, Mark Piper, Alpha, give me a sec, screen just closed on me. Alpha 0 Alpha Lima. Mark Piper, you are our winner. Congratulations. If you would like to actually contact us at, what is it, 813, 816, what's our number? Jeremiah?
You were cutting out. Do what?
What's our main number?
Main phone number is 816-532-8451. And
There
that
you
is the
go.
main phone number. You call in, you will speak to the lovely Miss Allison, and she will get you directed over to either me or Jeremy to get that taken care of for you. So please be prepared to verify your email address so we can make sure it is you and not somebody claiming to be you and trying to snag your prize. So just keep that in mind. We do verify. So
Now, Roy asked a very good question. Do we sell that emergency frequency card separately? We do have a SKU for it now. We are adding it to our product listing. So it will be a new product you can buy, and it is part of the collector series. So you will be able to collect all of it. We have a bunch out there. The multi-network workshop being one of them. Here's a card from that one. Kind of blends in with the background. And we got a couple others. So they're just interesting little collectibles. And they're also great to have. I don't know where mine is right now. I had one right here. The emergency cards, but I think I left it in the other room when I moved stuff. But those are great cards to actually have. I have one in my emergency. Oh, it's actually in. There's one in that kit. I can actually pull it out. Now, one thing we will go over in the course as well is what type of training you can get, what type of training is available, what's necessary, what's not necessary, things like that. Now, I saw some people say BLS. BLS is a great course to have. If you want to just go basic CPR, AED, and all of that, by all means. American Heart Association has an amazing program. It is accepted in most places as well as your workplaces. You also have the American Red Cross. and they also provide services for training you, and they provide some different services. So I have a mix between American Heart Association and Red Cross. All of my main ones, the CPR, first aid, DFib, BLS, ACLS, PALS, all of those are American Heart Association. I do have lifeguard and wilderness and some of these other ones. Those are going to be my American and Red Cross. So they do have a crossover between which ones you can use and all of that. And then I also have TC3. But we're not going to get into all those T classes as well. But you can get into those. It's not necessary. I am a disaster responder, so I like to make sure I can provide the best care to any individual before they get to the hospital. Now, with that being said, let's see if our other competition ended, so we can give you BC Plus members. Yes, it did. Okay. So while that's getting a thing, I'm actually going to put up the code again for everyone to see. So for those of you guys who are interested, there you go. You're going to say something, Jeremiah?
Yeah. For those who are wondering, yes, the Anytone radios are dual mode. They do DMR and analog, and they do work in an emergency on analog only. So you are perfectly able to take and use the radio. You can front panel program it. So if you need to put in a channel real quick, that is something you're able to do on the 878. 578 can still put in the frequency as well. So you are able to use it on analog in an emergency. If by some chance there is cell service, but there is some kind of an emergency, theoretically you could use the SkyBridge, but it would still be better to use analog in that situation. So just keep that in mind, that they do work in analog and DMR modes. All right. And
Also, one thing you didn't say is it works in both UHF and VHF. So you can hit a wide range of different frequencies.
yes, I did let that one slip my mind. Sorry about that, guys. Jarvis is still trying to
Process a new firmware.
Yeah. The firmware update has some bugs. Don't worry, we should have them worked out by next week.
Well, tonight's BC Plus winner is James Richardson, Alpha Charlie 9 Papa Hotel, Alpha Charlie 9 Papa Hotel, James Richardson. Congratulations. You are going to be going to our workshop. So congratulations to both of our winners tonight. Yep, I see it.
Oh man, these comments, guys, y'all crack me up. Defrag, is it Patch Tuesday? Oh, that's great.
Now, for those of you guys, if you do like our show, we do a lot of episodes. Tonight was specifically about the disaster prep workshop. But for those of you guys watching on YouTube, we do a regular show every Tuesday night, and we have a ball. We have a huge community that follows us and joins. We have about 700 members right now. If you are interested in joining our program, on our main website, you can find the BC Plus program information, and sign up for one of our 3 tiers. We do have a monthly, an annual, and a lifetime membership. We encourage you guys to actually come and join. If you'd like to start with the monthly, by all means, that's the great place to start. And we have a community that people talk in. We have these shows, we have special giveaways. Every week we give away something different. We've given away 878s and all of that radios. We give away hotspots. I think next week we're actually giving away a hotspot. Don't quote me on that yet. Still confirming that one. But for everyone who's interested, please join the community. We're trying to grow it. We're trying to make it better, and we're constantly looking into adding more features. So those of you guys who haven't done it, it's worth every penny. And if you guys want to hear testimony from our guys, I wish I could show you our chat right now, because people are saying how it's worth it and everything. It's worth every penny. We provide you guys with a lot of information, and we just want to make sure you guys enjoy the content that we provide. We are looking into starting a few more shows. Catch us out on Thursdays coming up soon. We're going to be starting to Ask Me Anything again, where me, Jeremy, and Jeremiah are going to be on a panel sitting there. You guys can ask us any questions and try and stump us or whatever. But specifically, people ask us a lot of amateur radio questions and all of that, but we're open to a wider range, so much as that we know the information. Good one, Eric. What's the square root of? I'm not even going to try that number right now.
Does not compute.
Does not compute. All for less than Starbucks coffee per month. Pretty much.
Dan, you are not kidding. That is one of my favorite places to go for coffee, because I just haven't went to any of the local places yet, but you are not kidding about the cost of Starbucks, because they're now charging to put the syrup in the coffee for the flavored coffees, and that used to be free.
Yeah, well, you're paying for burnt coffee. So anywho, with everyone out there, we do wish everyone a great evening. Another benefit you actually get with us is after the shows, we actually do stick around and we have a little powwow where we talk with everyone and have some fun. So kind of off the books, have fun type thing. So if you're interested in any of that, please join. We look forward to seeing you in the community. Till next time, see you guys on the air. I'm Adam, KN6QGV, with my co-hosts.
Jeremy, KD5YUZ.
And Jeremiah, W9JAM, 73s, everyone.
73, y'all.